What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we are back again with another deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at a Murakumo deck build for Shikigami Master Ryougi. So right off the bat, I'm just going to acknowledge it. This deck has a really bad rap in general. Just it's not being super competitive. It does what it does a little bit, but I think that we have to kind of take a step back and look at this deck in a different light. This deck really is all about compression. This is a deck that digs out what it wants, gets pieces out of your deck, into your hand, onto your field, and basically just make sure that your deck is nice and compressed for triggers. This is actually a defensive deck. I know that's kind of counterintuitive in terms of Murakumo, spawning out new units, you know, spamming the field, multi-attacking. Inherently, it sounds very offensive, but when you look at the skills of the card, when you play the games and you start to realize, hey, look, I'm actually, you know, ripping a ton of materials out of my deck and leaving triggers in. So I actually really like that aspect of this deck, and if we kind of take it and temper your game to kind of go around and adjust to that, I think we actually have a pretty solid deck that can sit around. And I'm not going to say this is a meta deck by any means, but you know, could leave yourself open for a little bit later into the game. Maybe, you know, playing Steam Maidens, they don't have 2 for man. You could just take a couple, boom, hopefully hit some defensives. But overall, a very decent deck, and I think that it's just getting a terrible rap overall. I've seen some weird builds with this, and in terms of including Yasui, in terms of including some of the old Stealth Fiend support that we got out of the past set, and I'm going to say it right now, that does not meld well, does not mesh well with this deck. So without further ado, let's hop right in. I hope to bring up some more of maybe the finer points of this deck and kind of show you how to pilot it in order to actually see some success. So yeah, let's hop right in. And before we begin, as always, I just wanted to thank you guys all so much for the support. We're over at 1,400 subs now. Thank you again so much. If you're interested in purchasing any of the cards you see here today, we have a TCG player link down in the description below. Helps me support the channel, absolutely no cost to you. I'm going to thank you in advance for using that. Also, if you are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. I also have Twitter. I'll link that down below too. You can get a little bit more personal interaction with me. But let's hop into the deck profile now. Alright, starting off with our main boss unit over here, jumping right into the deck profile now, we're going to be starting off with 4 of, no surprise, Shikigami Master Ryougi. So Ryougi is a really nice card. Act on Vanguard Circle, once per turn, counterblast 1, look at top 5, and then basically call 1 Stealth Fiend unit, or 2 if your opponent's on grade 3, and then its second skill, when your rearguard is placed by the ability of this unit, you gets that same name as this unit. So when your rearguards get placed, they're not actually their names, they're actually your Vanguard's names, which actually comes up a little bit later. We'll go into that, but it is important. And then lastly, over here, when this unit's attack did not hit, Soul Blast 2, choose up to the same number of cards with Stealth Fiend in its card name from your drop zone is the same number of the additional rearguard circles that you have, aka Excel markers, and call them to your additional rearguard circles. So again, have to go onto those rearguard circles, and this is pretty much like a farming game until you start getting 2 or 3 of these markers. Overall, your first grade 3 turn should really focus on just farming your materials, getting as much as you can out of your deck, leaving just triggers in your deck so you can take some defensive hits. I'm also going to talk about the pacing, but just right off the bat, this and one other card I think are the only things that use counterblast in the deck. You don't want to go start eating damage early for a bunch of skills. You do not need that. Just do not do it. Ideally, on your grade 3 turn, you kind of want to be just at 2 damage, 1 for a grade 2 that we're going to go over. You're going to use that earlier in the game, and then just 1 counterblast over here, and you could still have your turn. And don't worry so much about this third skill here on your first grade 3 turn. If this does hit, like, you know, it is what it is at that point, that's fine. You don't always want to allow this to hit. You also sometimes want to maybe recur Soul Blast 2, get out that unit, put it on that additional rearguard circle on your first grade 3 turn, and allow that skill to go off just to farm and get a little bit more into your hand, or whatever skill that you feel is necessary for that time. And of course, we're going to go over that. Yeah, it's just actually a decent card, helps recyclability. I know Soul Blast 2 seems a little heavy, especially in Murakumo with another card that we're going to have over here, but overall the support for this deck does make it work, and it really doesn't feel like a super resource problem. So again, we went over a little bit of pacing. Be at 2 by your first grade 3 ride, and don't always let this guy hit. You know, sometimes you do just want to go for that recursion play by the Soul Blast 2, especially a little bit later into the game when you have 2 or 3 kind of Excel markers. So actually a decent card, and again, just temper your expectations and your kind of play style. You know, Murakumo players typically want to just rush down, beat down, you know, let's end it quick, but that's not exactly the play style that we're going to have to go and finish here. So over here, moving into the next grade 3, we are going to be looking at 3 of an oldie but goldie. This is going to be Fantasy Petal Storm, Shiryuki. So this is the classic one, not the grade 3 retrain, the 6 Phasms or whatever the heck it is. But its skill, if you don't know by now, on Van or Rear, or Guardian Circle, Soul Blast 2, choose 3 units in your opponent's front row. They get minus 5k, and then if this is on Van or Guardian Circle, they get minus 10k. This isn't a defensive play. Honestly, like, we really do use it for defensive capability. If you want to push and actually make your kill turn and you're ready for it, you can pop this down minus 5k and allow a lot of your smaller kind of units to hit, because this deck doesn't really throw around power super easily. It starts to gain little increments here and there, and that little extra 5k can help us out. So at a certain point you might have a ton of soul too, so just popping those down, not on the additional rearguard circles, on regular ones, is absolutely fine. And then yeah, you can just subtract your opponent's power, making it easier to push for game. Next up over here too, another Stealth Fiend. A lot of grade 3s actually in this deck, but it feels decent overall, and I'll show you why we kind of do that later as well. Stealth Fiend, One-Eyed Nudo, so this was reprinted also. So was Ryougi actually. This whole deck is very cheap. You could probably get it for like 30 bucks, but its skill continues on Rearguard Circle. If you have another unit with the same card name as this unit on Van or Rearguard Circle, this guy gets boost and auto at the end of turn. If you have 5 or more units, put this into your soul and draw a card. So this is, the 5 or more units doesn't always come up because a lot of things tuck themselves into soul, so that won't always be live, but it helps with the power issue and able to and just kind of being able to boost. And there is actually a searcher for, like a generic searcher for the grade 3s, not the regular typical one that we run. I'll show you what we're talking about a little bit later, but overall, if you pop 2 of these guys down, tuck 1 into soul, gives yourself soul, gives you that draw that you need, and again, just all about gaining resources, surviving to the late game to kind of make that final push and maybe be able to edge out your opponent. But over here we got 4 of them, shares that Stealth Fiend name, so it is searchable in this deck, and I'll show you how. Over here, next up, we are actually running this girl at 4 of, so this is actually a really decent card, Stealth Fiend Lady Silhouette. So Lady Silhouette enables our early game, which is pretty interesting. When this guy is placed on Van or Rearguard Circle from hand, CB1, reveal a grade 2 or less card from your hand, search your deck for up to 1 card, the same card name as that card revealed for this, call it to Rearguard Circle, and then shuffle your deck. On rear, when this attack does not hit, put this unit onto the bottom of your deck, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, put it onto the bottom of their deck. So if you know they have like a really annoying interrupt, you know, maybe it's a I don't know, something on a Protect 2, or, you know, just an annoying interceptor, you can just swing early with this, get rid of that, that's fine. Also, this, like I said, enables that early rush. This is your ride target, essentially. You're going to reveal one of 2 cards, which we're about to go over right now, pop them down, and start thinning out your deck, like, immediately off the bat. So, let's go into those over here. We're going to be running 3 of, I think it's 3, right? Did I just have 3? Yeah. Oops, I almost thought I had 4. 3 of Stealth Fiend Jakotsu Girl. So Jakotsu Girl is another oldie but goldie, kind of goes with that whole Ryougi package over here. Had to kind of cut one down, I think. I was testing some ratios over here, that's why I kind of forgot. But auto on Rearguard Circle, and this unit attack does not hit. Look at the top 7 cards from your deck. Reveal up to 2 Fantasy Petal Storm Ryugis from among them, put them into your hand, and 1 into your drop. So 1 and 1. Shuffle your deck, and if you did not reveal any, we soul charge 1. So we're doing everything the deck wants to do. Compressing, possibly 2 cards actually, which is pretty big. Shuffle, and then you could also soul charge. And again, if you're playing into a force number, you can just do this compression early, that's fine, you know, just gain things in your hand, or just soul charge, whatever the case may be. You know, you could swing 9k if you spam 2 of these down. Like, ideally, if you want to go for this kind of early play, you pop her down on Van, reveal her, search her, play her from hand as well, so you have 1, 2, 3. You know, Van, rear, swing doesn't hit, do your thing, and then swing in the Van. If you're trying to counterstar them, just another strategy, a little bit more intricate as you go along. This is like a deck that you kind of have to feel the pace and know your opponent and know what, you know, what their deck really wants to do. I feel like with the right pilot, you could have success with this deck, but overall, I think a lot of it, the onus is on the pilot. But over here, 4 of Stealth Fiend Fukin. So this is one of the new cards. When this unit is placed on rear by your card's ability, it gets an extra 5k. So just threatening an on hit because it is a 9k, so at least it can hit, you know, like a bare bones force number. Auto on Rearguard Circle. At the end of battle, this unit attacked. If this attack did not hit, your Vanguard is basically the Ryougi. Put this into your soul, and then choose all of your rearguards with the same name as your Vanguard. They get an additional 5k until the end of turn. So this doesn't need to have the same name as your Vanguard. If you pop the other 2 things down, you know, swing with this first. If you want to enable them to hit, you swing with this first, doesn't hit, that's fine. Put them into soul. The other guys that your Vanguard called down, 1, 2 maybe, they gain that additional 5, and just like the threat to hit. And again, we're poking for little numbers. It's obviously good if it hits, because boom, you know, that's how you win the game. You have to get your opponent to 6. Or, you know, if they don't hit, like, that's fine too. Little small guard numbers, that's fine, because everything pretty much has a skill when it does not hit. So fueling your soul, allowing you to survive a little bit later into the game, giving you that Ryougi kind of defensive option as well, is really, really good, and we need that at a 4 of. And also just getting that extra 5 is good. Over here too, I'm just running 2 of these. I feel like 2 is the right ratio. I tried more, it just felt a little clunky. I think 2 is correct. Stealth Fiend Fright Sickle. So auto on Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if you have, you may have this unit gain an additional 5k until at the end of battle, until that end of battle. And then if you do, At the end of the battle, put this unit onto the bottom of your deck, and if this unit was placed by a card's ability this turn, draw a card. So, you know, place that down, boom, that's fine, put it onto the bottom of your deck, draw a card. You have a vacant additional rearguard circle, so you don't have to like call over anything or worry about like an on-hit kind of effect to tuck into Soul for some of our other cards. So I actually really do think this is a decent card. It allows us to A, draw, and B, clear out and vacate that spot too. And this is another call target you can go for on the grade 2 play with what's her name, with Silhouette. So you call, reveal from hands, and then boom, call that down, you know, just tuck it into Soul, draw a little bit early. Draw is never bad for us. And then getting into the grade 1s over here, the new card over here, this came out with the set. This is Stealth Fiend Tizen. So again, everything is pretty much a Stealth Fiend in this deck except for Ryougi and the Vanguard, I believe. Everything else is a Stealth Fiend. But this guy over here, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle by your card's ability, this guy gets an additional 5k, sharing that same skill with Fukan over there. And then its second skill, auto at the end of battle is attacked. If the attack did not hit and if your Vanguard is Ryougi, put this into Soul and then look at the top 7 cards off your deck. Choose up to one grade 3 card from among it, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So that is a generic grade 3. So you can search for the Ryougi, it can search for heal guards, and it can also search for your Vanguard and then Nudo, everything. So this is so huge. Sometimes you just want to swing in so that you can like sit there and maybe farm the Ryugis or farm like the Nudo, something just to get yourself a little bit further and again compress. Everything is about compression here. We have draw, compression, you know, let's just take a step back here. So, you know, compression, take something out of your deck, go search for it. You know, compression with the Ryugi here. This guy over here, it's not really compression, but you just kind of need him overall. It has that Stealth Fiend name too, which is searchable, and putting itself on the bottom, so you're not likely to hit it later unless you shuffle, and also just drawing cards there. So resource gaining, compression, that's really what this deck is about overall, and you have to kind of keep that in mind throughout the game and try not to I feel like too many people try to take the game on their first grade 3 turn or try these like silly strategies that just don't really work. I can't do that. But this is a new promo card over here too that kind of like brought the deck to life. I feel like previously with the grade 3 searcher just wasn't working out too well, but this is Stealth Fiend, I guess it is Kyugege, something like that, Kyugege, I don't know. But when this guy is placed on Vanguard rear, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. If the revealed normal units all have Stealth Fiend in their card names, choose a grade 2 or greater card from among them and then call it to rearguard circle or put it into your hand. So this is good for saving your ride chain. Maybe you don't have the correct grade 2, or you're looking for a specific target to maybe call off of the Silhouette. You could also search for your grade 3. This kind of does it all for us. I will say the annoying part is our Vanguard, like I said, doesn't share that name, and we're running that out of 4 of, so it doesn't have Stealth Fiend in it, of course. So it is kind of annoying overall, but this is, I do like this card. I think you definitely do need it. It feels, when it works, it feels really great. Like, there's games where I've activated this like 3 times, no problem. I've activated also other games where like I just cannot hit, and I always get like either the Vanguard or just Ryugi in there. So just be aware of that. And then lastly over here, we are going to, whoops, cards got stuck together, just one Rainy Madam over here. So another oldie but goldie, but again part of the Ryugi package, and this is recyclable, so you basically call it back with the Vanguard. I'll show you. Let me just go over its skill first. Auto on rearguard circle. When this unit attack does not hit, put this unit into your soul and then return a Fantasy Petal Storm Ryugi from your drop zone to your hand. So again, pop that Ryugi, it's in your drop. Swing with this, doesn't hit, boom, it satisfies its own thing, and not only it tucks itself into soul, gets that Ryugi from drop, and over you can kind of start using it with the Vanguard, blasting it out, calling it back out, do the same thing. You have multiple Ryugis in hand for your next turn, just making you survive a little bit longer. So that is it for the main deck outside of just the starter. Of course, I'm going to be running the Stealth Beast Cat Devil over here. Don't really have a Stealth Fiend one yet. I don't know if we ever will, but let's hop out, pan out a little bit and get to the triggers. Alright, for the trigger lineup, Murakumo, I always kind of keep it weird, but 4 of the heal guardians over here just need it. Don't want to have too much damage going into your first grade 3 turn. This is a deck that the longer the game goes, the better survival chance you have, the better chance of victory you have overall. And with that being said, I really like to draw and kind of gain our resources. So 4 of the draw PGs over here, no big deal there. I'm actually running 3 additional draw too, just because, like I said, we have to make it to late game. Getting cards in hand, getting key pieces, things like that feels really, really good. We don't always want to hit our opponent necessarily, and at times, if you give it crit to something else, like, you know, the chance of them doing 2 damage defensives just kind of shut off your entire turn. So gaining resources, just putting that 1 hit pressure kind of on instead of 2. This deck is weird with the hits. Like, you have to play it out to know what I'm talking about. I know it sounds really, really weird when I'm describing it. As I'm saying, I'm kind of questioning myself, but I'm like, you know what? I've played it. This is what I like. Over here, 4 and 5 crits. Still need crits to win the game. Still need to kind of just pressure and just have that available. If your opponent sees a bunch of other triggers and they don't see crits, you know, boom, maybe they'll just no guard a Vanguard, double crit, take the game. It is what it is. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this over here. Let's get into a test stand and I'll show you guys how the deck plays out. Alright, let's get started over here and shuffle up. So, like I've been saying, this is a pretty decent deck. It's not like the greatest ever, and I honestly think the Stealth Fiends probably have a higher ceiling overall. However, just I guess the consistency in this deck is pretty decently high, and I think that you really do deck thin. This is one of the best deck thinning decks within V right now, actually. Whatever that kind of gets credited for, I will say that. And let's see what we get on our top 5. This really isn't like a terrible top 5. I feel like I want to keep this a grade 2 or less. You know what? Maybe I don't need a Ryougi. You can kind of search. Nudo is good, but we also need more grade 2s for that. So let's go back here. I'm going to put Nudo back. It's not the best thing in the world, 1 and 2. Okay, so, well, at least we got some other names out of the deck. So in case we do want to search and use that grade 1, if I could find it, we won't run into them. Alright, so we're going to stand and draw for our turn, pretending we go first here. Okay, let's go and ride. Let's go and draw off of the ride. And it's not the worst thing in the world to ride it. I know it doesn't have a skill, but it would be pretty nice if it did. But it will be in Soul, so we'll blast it out later and potentially swing for it. You know, get it back, recur it, and just get a little bit more into our hand later on. So just kind of planning forward. Damage check, never want to see those. Stand and draw. Let's go and let's actually ride this right here. I'm going to skill Counterblast 1. I'm going to reveal this grade 2 or card from my hand. It's the only other grade 2 in my hand right there, so I have to go and get it from my deck. And again, the deck thinning starts. Ideally, you really want to do that with the Ryougi. It just makes things a little bit easier, helps you deck thin even further. But you know, anything we can kind of do to put a little pressure on them early is good in our case. And the other thing too, like, it's kind of weird, like, you don't necessarily want to rush down with a lot of these, you know, if your Vanguard is Ryougi, whatever, because they're going to pop down a, let's say like a Heal Guardian, whatever. They shut off our entire turn if I rush them right here, so, you know, and it's not going to go live with that skill, so I'm kind of baiting them into doing that early if I push a little bit too hard by calling the other one. But I'm going to drive check Nudo, nothing. I'm going to go 9k for whatever it's worth. If they called something else, maybe it does hit their Vanguard. Up to them. We're going to take a damage, boom. Let's say we do heal that out over here, and we are going to pass it over. Let's say they only give us 1 damage, you know, that's all we really get. Sometimes that does happen in V. Let's go over here. We're going to, I'm just going to pretend this is an Excel marker right here. I'm going to push things back just a little bit. I'm going to draw off of the Excel. Wow, we keep on drawing our grade 3s over here, which isn't great. But let's proceed. Let's see what else we can kind of do at this point. Let's go ahead and Counterblast 1. Look at the top 5 of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go check out what I got here. And we do actually have, I do like this, but I think I'm going to recycle it back again. I'm going to actually call down this guy. I'm going to call it over here just because it doesn't have like an on hit or null hit kind of effect over here. We are going to shuffle up. And we don't call 2 because our opponent's Vanguard is only grade 3. I mean grade 2. Oops, if it's grade 3, then we do call 2. Skill 1 placed. We look at the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gonna look and see all Stealth Fiends over here. No, of course not. Of course we do hit the Ryougi, which kind of does suck. I just do think it's still worth it overall. So let's see over here. This is going to have the same name as my Vanguard. Maybe I should have actually called it. Let's just say we called it over here, I guess. That's fine. Okay. We're going to proceed in. You know, if it's a 9k and you want to just at least threaten a hit over here, you can just swing, pop this into Soul, make it a little bit easier for ourselves to get some targets into drop to call out later on. That is totally up to you. But yeah, I think we're going to do that first. We're going to swing, just say, you know, their Vanguard is 10k. That's fine. I'm going to swing over here. We are going to swing in. First check. Second check. You know, I guess it did hit, so we can't really use the Soul Blast 2 over there, but we're gonna give power and then draw. If we did, you know, we want to set up for next turn, just basically have these right there out and about, but it has to not hit. So we're gonna swing over here, so it's 5k, 13k, because the other guy gave the same rear guard with the same name as our Vanguard, which it does have because it was called off the skill. Extra 5k, 23k into my opponent's Vanguard, and I have like a pretty stacked hand, like right here. Like I'm definitely gonna be able to survive and get like a better turn kind of going next turn. So let's just take some damage here. Let's take 1, let's take 2. We do have a trigger, so let's start guarding stuff, just make it a little bit easier, you know. So we guard a little poke, What else over here? How many triggers I got? I got one. Let's say I got one more. You really just, again, like I kind of mentioned in the video, don't go past 2 damage riding up to your first grade 3 turn. It's just, you really want to mitigate that as much as possible because we have to survive into late game. So I understand not always possible, but if you can, definitely that's the guarding pattern you kind of want to get into the groove of a little bit earlier on into the game. So let's stand and did we draw right there? I don't believe we drew. I don't think so. No, draw. Sorry if I did. I just totally blanked out on that, but here we are. We're gonna ride up and we're gonna go, I don't know why, I guess I grabbed my Excel my protect pile instead of my Excel one, but we're gonna draw off of that. And here's where it starts to get interesting with some extra stuff. So let's go here, let's counterblast first. Let's look at the top 5. So again, thinning our deck, 1 2 3 4 5. All right, we are going to call down 2 units with the same name, and then they're gonna have the same name as my Vanguard. Let's go and actually, let's call down 1 here, and then let's call down 2 right here. I think that's how it's gonna go. All right. Okay. There we go. All right, so we are next up. What else are we gonna do? I'm gonna toss, actually, let's put these both on there. Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna toss one of these guys here. I'm gonna toss one of these guys behind this guy right there. I'm gonna look at the top 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Let's go 1 2 3 4 5. Let's go, and we don't get that actually because it doesn't have a stealth fiend in it, the Ryougi. So until we get something with like a stealth fiend that is actually like pretty decent defensively, I think Ryougi still is really worth it in my opinion. So let's keep going. We are going to actually do anything else here. I could do the Nudo play, kind of. Nah, not really. Let's go and proceed in. We're gonna swing. This is gonna be 14k. This was actually called off of a skill, so it's actually 19k. Up to my opponent. Let's say they do let this one hit. You know, they hit a trigger or something. Boom, this one doesn't hit. You know, 5k in, everything with the same name as my opponent's, as my my Vanguard. That's gonna get an extra 5k. Not that it's worth anything really. We are going to then proceed. We are going to swing in right here. Let's go. First check, second check. All right, let's say it doesn't hit. Soul Blast 2. 1 and 2 right here. 1 and 2. We are going to call as many as we have from as Excel circles right there. I'm going to call that over, and then boom, we kind of reset ourselves right there. Whoops, they share the same name as our Vanguard, so we're going to swing in right here. 8k, I guess doesn't really hit anything. Try to hit, you know, if there is anything. We're going to swing over here. There's going to be 16k. Like, these are the small kind of numbers where you're poking at your opponent, and like it's really up to them. Do they want to take it? Do they not? These are such guardable numbers, but if they do guard it like they do in this instance, let's say we look at the top 7 now. This is for any grade 3. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Let's go get a grade 3. We can keep the heal in deck. I kind of want to keep the heal in deck and just thin out right here, so I'm gonna get the Nudo. I'm gonna swing over here, and I'm going to swing at my opponent's Vanguard. This is going to be 19 again. Small little hit. Let's say that one does hit. This one over here. This is going to be another 5k, so it's 13, 18k. Let's say this one doesn't hit. Pop it into Soul. Do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, yeah, 7. Look for a grade 3. We actually didn't find a grade 3 this time. Kind of sucks, but we did vacate the fields in case that matters at all. And you just kind of keep on progressing with the game this way. Kind of poke them down, thin out. Let's just show you over here. So I have no idea I'm gonna hit a trigger. No, 1 and 2. Do hit a trigger there. I mean, it is what it is. It's not like the best strategy to kind of go into, but overall, not too bad. I do definitely like it. We have plenty of defensive capability with Ryougi. Minus 10k onto the front row. Let's get some stealth fiends again into my drop right there. And as you can see, I mean, my hand is pretty stacked still. Like, I could still get away with a pretty good turn, and that's just kind of how it goes. If this deck feels a little bit more deadly as time goes on, and you definitely want to just whittle down your opponent, is this an A1, like, bulletproof kind of strategy? Absolutely not. Like, this is a tough deck to pilot. This is a tough deck to know when to pull the trigger, when to not. Definitely going to need a lot of games on this to see any kind of success, but at the same time, super inexpensive. It's a fun little strategy. It's really, if you're into Murakumo, you can pick this up. You probably have a ton of the staples already for absolutely nothing. So let me know if you guys want the regular stealth fiend, the other kind of builds with the old, oh god, what was it, Hyouga, whatever, the other one. She is actually decent. I feel like she's an okay rogue pick overall right now. If this video does get 30 likes, I will post that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any comments down in the description below. Again, if you're interested in purchasing any of the cards, go through our link in the TCG player, link in the description. Thank you again, and if you are enjoying the content, like and subscribe. Thank you in advance. This is Alex from Team Generations signing out.